Hello and welcome to the third in this short series of Phrasebox videos. In our last video, we showed you how to create basic phrases and adjusting things like velocities and transpositions. If you've not yet had a chance to check out the first two videos, I strongly recommend that you pause this one, follow the links in the description, check those out and come back when you're done. Because in this video, we're going to be exploring how to use more rows, including the special rows and using controller lanes. So far, we've only been using 3-note chords, but Phrasebox supports up to 8 individual notes. Let's expand our chord sequence in the DAW to 6 notes by duplicating our original chord sequence an octave higher. We can now use rows 1 to 6 to make a more complex phrase. If you create a chord or scale using 8 notes, you can use all 8 lanes, but we'll stick to 6 for this example. Let's create a new phrase by using all 6 notes. In addition to the 8 rows, we also have the special rows. These will play notes based on rules rather than pitch. The all row will play all notes of the chord and is a great way of making stab patterns. The high and low rows will play the highest and lowest notes in pitch. First and last will play the first and last notes that you played, and quiet and loud are chosen based on the incoming velocity. Fixed is a note as decided using the fixed note slider, and rand will choose a random note from your chord. Let's use some of these rows to make a more detailed phrase. I'm going to create a quick pattern using just rows 1 to 3 for now. With that done, I'm going to modify the original chord sequence by raising or lowering the velocities of certain notes. As incoming velocity doesn't affect how notes are played, we can use these as selectors for the loud and quiet rows. The quietest note of the chord will be mapped to the quiet row and the loudest to the loud row. As you can hear, the quiet and loud rows are using the notes we just adjusted. You can design melody lines into your chord sequence by adjusting the velocities of specific notes. The next rows we'll look at are the high and low rows. These take the highest and lowest notes of the chord and map them to these rows. If we add a note on the low row, you won't be able to hear any difference. This is because row 1 is also the lowest note and we already have a note on that row. However, this lets us create bass notes by taking the low row and octaving it down. As you can hear, we now have a bass accompaniment to our phrase. Alongside creating notes, we can also add controller data. We have 7 selectable controller lanes plus pitch bend. You can select a different controller number by right-clicking and choosing from the pop-up menu. For this example, I'll create some hold pedal data for the piano to get a more realistic performance. We can simply click and drag to add points and move them around. If we hold Shift, we get to fine-tune the positions. So that's everything for our short introduction to Phrasebox. Hopefully, these videos have given you good insight into the basics of using Phrasebox. In future videos, we'll explore the generation features and dive deeper into actually creating a complete track. Thanks so much for watching.